Boop, boop, boop. Another day, another dollar. Thank the Lord for another 24, baby. Quick leg day today, man. I worked another 16-hour shift today, man. I'm grinding it out, man. We finishing out 2023 on a high note, man. I'm hitting 2024, the ground running, man. You know, as soon as I got off work, man, I went straight to the gym. Leg day, I was in there probably 45 minutes. I did legs. You know, I did a few sets of squats. Then I did one set of 315 and I was gone. Yeah, I was in and out, man. You know. Today's video, man, I'm gonna talk about a mafia dude, man. I was at the last prison I worked at, man. He was a hitman for John Gotti. One of John Gotti's hitman. Yeah, the John Gotti. You know, we hear the rappers always talking about John Gotti. Rick Ross, I think I'm John Gotti, Kevin Gates. A lot of them mafia dudes, man, I have seen in the prisons that I worked at. You know, a lot of the movies that we see over the years, what is it, Goodfellas, Casino, Bronx Tale, what is it, The Godfather. A lot of them movies, man, them characters, the people that they are inspired by in real life, man, I seen them. I work around them on a daily basis. I've been around them, man. I'm talking about the upper echelons of the mob, you know, the bosses. You know, the Godfathers, you know, the skippers, the capo, whatever you want to call it, man. You know, I be kind of like, when I be fascinated with some of that stuff. You know, I be on Wikipedia, you know, researching different people that was in the mob over the year. I just like to read about it, you know. I got a couple books. I just like reading about it. You know, the movie's always good. I done seen Casino, Godfather, Goodfellas. I've seen those millions of times. One of my favorite shows of all time, The Sopranos. I might watch it again, man. You know, I just like stuff like that, you know. But I'm gonna talk about this particular. He was in John Gotti's crew, man. He was a hitman, you know. He couldn't be officially made, you know, in the Italian mob because he was German. You know, you got to be Italian to be initiated, you know, into the family to become, you know, a made man, you know. But if you research him, you know, you will see that he had the same respect as some of the upper echelons in the John Gotti's crew, you know, the Gambino crime family, you know. And he was at my last prison, you know. I was only there for like 2 years before I transferred. You know, but I worked the unit that he was on. I worked that unit quite a few times, and from observing him, you could tell by the way he carried himself that he was somebody on the street. Like, it was just something about him, man. He was like, you could tell he was that dude. You know, even though he wasn't a made man, he couldn't be officially a made. You know, if you go and Google him, man, his name was Joe Watts. Man, he got out of prison, I think maybe a few years ago. He been out. You know, I think he's still alive as far as I know, you know. But he had that aura about himself, man. I used to just sit back in the unit, man, it's deserved, man. You know, the first thing I noticed about him, you know, I heard when I first started, you know, people was telling me, some of my co-workers was telling me about it, you know. Then I finally worked the unit he was on, you know. I was kind of observant, sitting in the office observing. The first thing I noticed about him, man, is he had these veneers in, these teeth. You know, they said that he spent like, it was like $10,000 or $20,000 on these teeth, right? They were so bright, like when he smiled, they were like almost blue. It was like they just lit up. It was crazy. I ain't never seen nothing like it, man. I was like, man, it's somebody that got real teeth, man. I guess if they use white strips all the time or use like extreme whitening toothpaste, they could possibly get the same effect, man. But he had these veneers in his damn mouth, man. They said he spent down there $10,000, $20,000 on, man, you know. Then there was certain things like that he did that you could tell, like, man, like the people, like the other inmates respected him, you know. It was like people, like, they tried to hang around him a lot. You know, I noticed, like, when you go by his cell or when I go in there trying to search, you know, just looking, you know, or walking by, his cell was always spotless, clean, immaculate, man. It was like everything was in order strategically. I used to always see like he would have like some of the other orderlies that like worked in the unit. He would have them always buffing his cell. You know, I don't know anything about it, man. I just always used to see like it would be like the Hispanic, the Mexicans. He would get one of them. They would always be buffing his cell, man. His floor was spotless, man. It was down there. It looked like a damn porcelain mirror. You could damn near look up and see your damn reflection, man. It was crazy, right? Then I never seen him go to chow. You know, for somebody not to go to chow in a prison, inmate not to go to chow, that tell you, man, they must got a lot of money on their books, man. They must be just eating commissary or having somebody making them food. Because every time I worked that unit, he would never go to chow. He would always go to the rec yard. You know, he was probably at the time, this is back in 2013, he was probably about 75 years old, you know. And I talked to some other people, like some co-workers that worked on the rec yard. They was like, man, this old man, he would be out there running laps, man. They said he would run like 5 miles every day, man. He would never go to chow at lunchtime. He would always go to the rec yard. You know, every time when the mail come, when I'm working that unit, the mail come, he got down there a stack of like newspapers, letters. I'm talking about every day when mail came, he got stacks, man, you know. And I had, you know, I Googled him on Wikipedia one time, you know, I was just curious. I'm like, man, what's up with this dude, man? You know, I was just like trying to do some intel, you know, because like from our end on the computer, it just says Gambino crime family, you know, when they got like the sentence, how long they in for, where they from, you know, like the stuff that we need, you know, to identify the inmates, you know, from a prison staff standpoint. So I went on Wikipedia, man, and it was talking about how I guess back in the 80s when John Gotti killed the boss of the Gambino crime family, he became the boss. He gave, I guess, some interest or like some rackets, I think that's what they call it, to the dude Joe Watts, and it made him a millionaire, an instant millionaire, man. When John Gotti took over, he gave some of the, I guess, the assets from the former boss to him, made him a millionaire, man. This dude was loaded, bro. I'm talking about, he had a mansion down in Florida. I think when he got arrested, I think the feds confiscated it, man. It was like on the coast. You know, you can pull it up. It was on Google, man. They said it had like 10-foot security walls around it. He had like 2 Doberman pinchers that was like guard dogs, man. You know. But this was the craziest thing I ever seen when I worked that unit when he was there. But I'll never forget this. So I'm working the unit during the daytime on day shift, right? I'm in the office. It's like in the morning, you know. He had got it to where like the showers are next to my the office for like where the officers sit. He had got it to where like the first shower was just reserved for him and another inmate. They both had medical issues, right? So he in there taking a shower, you know. I didn't see him go in, but I had seen him come out because, like I said, my office is right next to the showers. You know, his cell was like over to the right, so he had to walk in front of the office to get to his cell, right? So he walked out. He had on like some fucking like a bathrobe. Somebody had, I guess, stitched up for him. You know, when you in prison, a lot of inmates had different hustles, man. Some of them, man, I seen like they take Jolly Ranchers, the candy, and somehow they make them into suckers and sell it as candy. I done seen, man, people, they know how to stitch, man, and they make sweaters. This dude, man, Joe Watts, he had a fucking bathrobe on. Somebody had stitched for him, though. I'm like, bruh, he think he at the Hilton or the damn Four Seasons Hotel. He in prison, right? I was blown away when I seen that, you know. And another crazy story I had seen on him, man, was when another mafia dude, he was from like another Italian crime family. He came to the prison. It was like his first day on the yard, right? So he was staying like a building or 2 down from where Joe Watts was staying, right? So he got on the yard And I seen with my own eye, I think I was working another unit, but it was like I was working the one across so I could see everything that's going on. You know, I think it was around lunchtime too, so we all standing outside, all the COs. The dude, Joe Watts, he takes a big ass bag, I'm talking about full of commissary, and he walked it over to the other dude that was in the Italian mob. You know, I seen him give the bag to him. You know, they hugged and everything, man. They embraced each other, and he walked right back to the unit. You know, it was like the bag. I don't know. It was probably, man, like $100 worth of commissary. $100 in prison is a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? But it was just like he had that aura that you could tell, you know, that he was somebody on the street, man, when he was in the life. You know, I don't know if he's still in the life or not, man. He retired. Like I said, he got out probably about 4 years ago. And I transferred from that prison to another prison, you know, like probably 3-4 years before he got out, you know. But you go on Wikipedia, pull up pictures of him, man. He got pictures of him, like John Gotti. He in sharp suits, man. You know, dude looked like he didn't play no games. He was a hitman. You know, they said he had like maybe 10, 20 bodies on him, you know. Like I said, dude, like he just had that something about him, man. Like, you know, I don't know if y'all ever like seen somebody, man, you could tell, like, man, that they mean business, man. They like a man or a woman of business, man. You could tell there's something about them, man. That's the impression I got, man, when I seen Joe Watts. You know, it was crazy. You know, I just always just sit back and observe. I had a couple words with him, you know, here and there, just like chit-chatting, you know. I think one time we were having like a little conversation, you know, we just, you know, shooting the shit. And he was telling me about New York, you know. He was trying to convince me for some reason to transfer to the federal prison up in New York, man. He was like, yeah, you could get what did he tell me? He was like, you could get like an apartment in Manhattan, man, with a bell, man. He's like, it'll run you maybe about $3 or $4 grand a month. I'm like, Joe, I'm a prison guard. I don't have that type of money, you know. $3 or $4 grand for just a brownstone. You know, it was interesting though, the conversation. You know, we just sitting there out in the unit, like, you know, just chit chatting, you know. But it was just like, man, I was like just like impressed by how he carried himself, man. You know, he stayed out the way. He wasn't in the middle of anything, man. You know, a lot of people like that, man, that's like high profile. They usually just stay kind of out the way, low key, you know, just trying to do their time and whatnot and go home, man. But yeah, he was a legit millionaire, man. You pull up Wikipedia and Google that name, man. Joseph Watts. I think they called him Joe the German. You know, I just researched, man. They was talking about how he was a hitman for John Gotti. You know, when John Gotti took over, man, he gave some of the assets and interest from the old boss that they had whacked to him, made him a millionaire. You know, there was another crazy story I seen on there about when it might have been back in the 80s or 70s. It was Frank Sinatra. You know, he was at a nightclub with John Gotti. John Gotti came in. You know, he had his whole entourage and whatnot. Joe Watts was with him. They said on this article, man, that John Gotti had called for Frank Sinatra to come over to his table, you know, to have some words, I guess, to talk or speak or socialize, and he didn't come. And it said in the article, Joe Watts walked over to Frank Sinatra's table, and he said, when John Gotti calls you, you come to the table. Otherwise, I'll be the last person that you ever see in your life. You know, that was damn near the words that they said in the article. I was like, wow, this dude, he really had some juice, bro. Like, this shit's crazy, man. Like, you know, when you watch these movies, you know, then you get to like just going online and researching these dudes, and then to when you in that type of environment, working in that environment, and you see these dudes on a daily basis, it's just kind of mind-boggling, you know. Like, the people that we see in these movies, like Goodfellas, The Sopranos, Godfather, like the people they based on in real life, I see them, like, you know, damn near on a daily basis, you know, or I have seen them when I used to work those units, man. A lot of them, like I say, are old. You know, a lot of them mafia dudes, man, they up there in age. what. I think we got a dude up there now. He was. I think he might still be the boss of one of those families, man. I'm not sure. I thought he was. He might have transferred. I don't know, man. You know, the prison system, man. A lot of dudes, they end up transferring to prisons or going home, or they points might drop. Their security level, they might go to a lower security prison, man. But I done seen all kind of dudes, man. Like over the years, man. We done had bosses. Man, like the next in line to the bosses, like they got what they call them, the capos. You remember, like on The Sopranos, you had Tony, then you had Paulie and Silvio. They was right underneath him. You know, I done seen, man, all them dudes, man. You know, Italian, New York Gambinos, Lucchese. I think it was a dude one time. He was from the Chicago Mafia, man. All them dudes. You know, it just be like mind-boggling. You know, just in that environment when you see them dudes, and then you see like these movies that we like idolize and whatnot, you know. But like when I'm there, I keep it strictly professional, you know. I don't let them know that, you know, like, yeah, I might have, you know what I'm saying, or I seen the movie that's based on you or nothing like that. But you know, it's natural to like be like, you know, like kind of starstruck a little bit when you see these dudes. You like, damn, that movie is based on him. Here he is right here doing time for racketeering or all these murders he committed, man. The conspiracy to, I don't know, whatever, man. You know, the mafia, man, they had a lot of crazy shit going on with them, man, you know. Y'all like this video, make sure you subscribe to my channel, at The Ghetto Bodybuilder. I do mostly fitness, workout related videos, but to those of you that don't know, I'm a prison guard. I've been working in the correction system for going on 12. This is my 12th year right here, man. So a lot of people been asking me to, you know, drop some stories about crazy shit I done seen. You know, I dropped one a few days ago about the time I got punched in the stomach by a mental health inmate. That shit was crazy. If you ain't watched that, go check that out, man. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok at The Ghetto Bodybuilder. I got merchandise for sale, man. Shop with me, www.theghettobodybuilder.com. This one of my shirts right here, high off of pre-workout powder. I got a lot of gym, fitness related shirts and hoodies with catchy quotes and captions on there. I got some motivational stuff too, like hustling, grind, inspirational, motivational stuff on there too, man. So check my website out, www.theghettobodybuilder.com, man. Stay tapped in with me, man. I'm gonna keep them coming, man. I'm gonna keep these videos coming, man. I ain't gonna stop. Y'all know how we coming. Let's get motivated.